My unit, salute! There's only one way to kick off this special weekend edition of Amped Up with BC, featuring the very first SmackDown review of 2025. And that is to ask my unit, ooh, what do you want to talk about? How about we talk Tiffy time? Because it is not clobbering time. It is not Vader time. Much love and respect to Big Leon. It's not even Morphin time. It's Tiffy time. Adjust your clocks accordingly, because last night, Hunter Helmsley, WWE, they did the deed. And they put the title on Tiffany Stratton, cashing in on Nia Jax. Oh, we're gonna talk about it. From the jump, I will ask my unit, are you guys good with that decision? Are you team Tiffy? Or are you team hell no? And I ain't talking Bryan Danielson, Daniel Bryan, and Kane. Are you like, no way? Not on a SmackDown. Or are you just like, no, that's long overdue. Tiffany Stratton damn sure was going to get that title anyway. It's the first 3-hour SmackDown. They wanted to make it big. And now the question is, what do they do with Charlie? That was the original plan, right? That's why they put the Queen title on Nia. So that when Charlie comes back, it's Queen versus Queen, right? That's not something we were just thinking that might happen. That's what they were thinking. So plans switched up, and I'm glad they did. But if you think Charlie's coming in to take that title from Tiffany after the response that Tiffany got last night, sorry, not sorry. Charlie, go find a good storyline, but stay away from the title picture. Because there's no way Charlie can come back to take Tiffany's title. We'll talk about it. I'm already giving too much away in the cold open. That's what I want to talk about, Cody. Tiffy time. Let me know, guys, down below, if you guys are on board with that decision. Or are you against that? Should have stayed on Nia, maybe. Is that what you're feeling? We'll talk about it in this review. We're also going to talk that major timing botch from Hunter Hearst Helmsley last night, man. If you caught the show, you probably noticed. Or maybe you didn't. Maybe you were just dancing along with Jason Uso, feeling the vibes. Getting down with your bad self, right? Break your legs. Come on, break your legs. Now watch me whip. Oh, no, I think they were eating, right? I don't know. They could have been doing the Macarena. I knew what was going on, though. We're going to talk about it. And to Hunter's credit, Hunter has said numerous times, so I will give him credit. He has said in numerous interviews, the third hour of a show is so hard to produce. It's hard to book. It's hard to create. It's hard to write for. But what happened last night, that's unacceptable, guys. That can't happen on live TV, on cable television, on your first 3-hour broadcast. And we're sitting around basically twiddling our thumbs, because if you didn't want to yeet like a 10-year-old, then you were just wasting precious television time because Hunter was lost. And after the match, too. After the match, more timing issues. And poor Solo is forced to stay there like a statue. If you've ever walked around New York, they have these people that they stand still for hours. They're like dressed as the Statue of Liberty or some bronze-like statue, some monument. And you know, you give them a tip, but they'll just stay still for hours. They don't even blink. It's wild, right? I mean, Solo is forced to stay there and stare at the hard cam because Hunter Hearst Helmsley can't figure out how to do this producing thing. It was wild. We're going to talk about it. And we're also going to talk SmackDown going to 3 hours. I completely forgot it was last night, guys. I know a couple weeks ago they confirmed it, but I forgot. And when they announced, when Michael Cole said it was 3 hours, guys, if the show was absolute straight fire for weeks, months, and years, I would have welcomed that. It would have been music to my ears. I would have been like, yeah, 3 hours of WWE tonight. 3 hours of pro wrestling. Let's go. Entertain me. Yes. Yeah. But because the show has not been up to par, because a lot of these shows these days are straight out boring. It's unfortunate to say that. There's nothing that's really captivating us. It's not must-see TV, right? The characters are not larger than life. They're fun. They're goofy. They're relatable, right? Maybe you can dance with them or shout out a cute little catchphrase, but they're not larger than life, right? You're not jumping out of your seat, jaw dropped, screaming at the top of your lungs that here comes Stone Cold or somebody. Unfortunately, So when they announced 3 hours, I was like, oh no, I don't want, guys, this is full honesty, man. That's what you're going to get on this channel. We don't sugarcoat, we don't BS, not to my audience. This is how I truly was feeling last night, because I thought I was sitting down for a 2-hour show doing my notes. Maybe I can even do the recording for the review last night after the show. But when I heard it was 3 hours, my initial thought was, no, I don't want to do this for 3 hours. That's bad, right? 3 hours. This is going to be a lot, guys. And Monday Night Raw is going to be nearly 3 hours, too. There's no complete time restraint because it is streaming now. Netflix can pull it at 2.5, 3.5 hours. But when Hunter's telling you he can't even do 1 3-hour show a week, now he's got to do 2. And you guys think this is going to just be the best thing since, stuffed crust pizza. Not so fast, man. Hunter is telling you he doesn't know what to do with this 3rd hour. Now he's got 6 hours. I'm not even talking NXT. 3 hours last night. I was like, you have got to be kidding me, man. I'm like, I hope they have big stuff planned. And aside from Tiffy Stratton, if you guys remember that show last night, because we're going to go over it, not a lot, right? Basically nothing of substance, correct? I'm being honest. I'm just being honest, man. I'm not being a fanboy giving a review, right? And talking about how everything was awesome last night. I'm not telling you that Hunter is cooking and business is booming because that's all they want to tell you. This show last night, 3 hours, you take away the Tiffany Stratton moment. This show, we cannot do this every week, guys. This cannot be produced. 3 hours of this every single week is going to be as exhausting as Monday Night Raw became. We'll talk about it. That's the cold open teaser. All right, so there's some good, obviously, with the Tiffany Stratton cash-in, and then there's a whole lot of things that they need to be addressed now if you're going to stay 3 hours going forward, and they are. So that's what's on tap in this special weekend edition of Amped Up. It's going to be featuring the SmackDown review, the very first of 2025. We got a fresh coffee from the fine folks at Starbucks, a double shot pistachio latte. This is the first day of pistachio being back, so go to your local Starbucks and crack open those pistachio lattes. Tell them you want a double shot. Get fully amplified. All right, big swig. We're not even going to go to an opening signature. Big swig. We'll get right into it, guys. Cody Rhodes started this show. Actually, can I just say real quick, a little extension of the cold open. Are you guys seeing this Netflix debut? That is wild, man. Look what's on tap, dude. John Cena is confirmed to return. Rock is returning. It's just not confirmed. Hasn't been announced. But like a Clorox wipe, 99.99%, The Rock is there. His team is already in LA. He'll be showing up. So The Rock will be on this show with John Cena. The main event of Seth Rollins, CM Punk. The undercard, Solo and Roman, Liv and Rhea for the championship. I mean, this is WrestleMania-esque. It really is. And it's wild to hear what they said last night. It's not sold out. And that's what I've been trying to tell you guys, man. If you realize, there's been no consistency with sellouts lately. Around WrestleMania season, right after, they were talking all about, 40 consecutive shows, 45, whatever it was. But now, no, it's completely different, right? Once the show starts lacking, once it's not WrestleMania season. Because WrestleMania season's easy, right? That's when you're going to get the most buzz. That's when you're going to put all your best. People are going to return. The big matchups are promoted. So, of course, you're going to get an uptick in many areas, most all areas. But what happens right after Mania season, man? And there goes the sellouts, right? And all those families, when they were putting down that plastic, the credit cards, that's fine. The thing with credit cards, though, is once you put them down, they accumulate interest. So when that WWE comes around the next time, you ain't going to be able to throw that same card down. So you better hope you have multiple cards. So what happens is those families can't go to the next one and so on. And that's why you're not seeing sellouts anymore. Once in a while, but no consistency. That's why. So they're not bragging about that anymore because they're not. Guys, this Netflix show at the Intuit Arena, correct? Intuit Dome, whatever they want to call it. It's not sold out, man. Michael Cole is trying to hawk tickets last night. He's trying to tell you guys, man, anybody who's around, just like buy a ticket, man. There's still seats available. As of the recording of this the next day, just 2 days away from this big debut on Netflix, guys, there is still many seats left. And third market, even more. So, you know, they have not been able to sell this out, and this is WrestleMania-esque. You know, they're really trying to put everything into it. Netflix was hoping for a sellout immediately when they announced where it was going to be held at, and that just didn't happen. So, makes you think, man, you know, when you got everybody telling you how great wrestling is right now, WWE, because they're making good revenue. I say this all the time on the channel. When The Rock has to tell you 100 times that wrestling is cool again. When Cody has to tell you 100 times that this is the best era. When Hunter Helmsley has to tell you it's even better than the Attitude Era. When Drew McIntyre in the first segment of last night, because this is what happened, we're about to go over it. Drew looked right at Cody and he said, "This is the best era we've ever had in pro wrestling. This, and you're leading it, Cody." But he even said the words, "This is even better than the Attitude Era." Bro, you don't even have ruthless aggression right now. This ain't better than the Attitude Era, and you know it. But when these wrestlers in the COO, whatever he calls himself, an officer of creative, when they tell you time and time again that this is the best, and they bring up the Attitude Era. It ain't just podcasters, bro. It ain't people that run a show about pro wrestling. They are bringing up Attitude Era nonstop because they want you to know that this is a better era. But it's not a better era just because you tell us it is 1,000 times and you try to condition us and you try to brainwash us into thinking it is. In the Attitude Era, nobody had to tell us we were living in the best era of wrestling. They were just doing it, and we knew what was happening. It was special. But these days, they're just so quick to tell us this is the best. Drew McIntyre live, right? Because Cody started this show. And he says a bunch of words. Drew McIntyre interrupts, and Drew says a bunch of nothing. "I'm not out here to have a match with you or fight you or hurt you. I'm just saying, you know, I respect you, actually." Or something. I don't even know what he was saying. And he starts blowing smoke up his ass. You know, we're in the best era. It's better than the Attitude Era. You're the leader of it. Yes, Cody Rhodes is better than what Stone Cold was back in the Attitude Era. Okay. He's better than what Hulk Hogan was in the Golden Era. Stop, man. I think WWE has told themselves these lies so many times, they're starting to believe it. Drew McIntyre live TV is saying these words. Dude, you can't even sell out the Netflix debut of Monday Night Raw with the card that you have. Stop it. Stop. Because if you're not going to be honest, at least we will on this channel, I assure you. My unit will absolutely. By the way, real quick, where are my manners? Where's my reciprocated volley back of respect, Eddie Brash, AMP unit member. Thank you, dude, for that coffee, and Happy New Year to you. Keep rocking and stay amplified, Eddie Brash. I appreciate you big time, man. I didn't forget. I wanted to say that over in the cold open teaser, but there was a lot to go over. So, Eddie Brash, appreciate you, man. Thank you for the coffee. Keep rocking, stay amplified. Always good to see you up in here. So that's how we started the show, guys. Drew McIntyre is out there for no reason. He went through this portal to get over to SmackDown, and now him and Cody are saying a bunch of nothing to one another. And then Drew just leaves. He's like, but I don't want to hurt you, but just watch your back. And he turns around, and Kevin Owens is there. And Kevin Owens takes him out, Cody. So then a bunch of suits and ties and referees get in the ring. And guess what we have, guys? If you're a veteran of this channel, you know what we're about to say if you missed the show. We had yeah, come on, I already hear it. A pull-em-apart brawl. A pull-apart brawl. Because that's all Hunter does. He doesn't want to get creative. So to get to Owens and Cody for the third time, they're just going to brawl more. We've already seen them brawl 12 times. We've seen them have a match a couple of times already. So now for another month to get us to the Rumble, they're going to continue to brawl, and they're going to be pulled apart by the suits and ties and the referees. And this is what I mean. When you see people in the community going, wow, this is so good, man, Hunter's cooking. Don't be afraid, guys, to question it. That's all I'm saying. Question it. Go, is he really cooking? Like, he's an officer of creative, the chief guy in the company. And that's the best he's giving us? Like, you wouldn't ask for a little bit more? Like, don't insult our intelligence? The first 3 hours SmackDown, we've already seen Kevin Owens and Cody a couple of times. We've seen them brawl 12 times. And the best creative Hunter has is to go out there and brawl. We'll have a pull 'em apart brawl. That's all I'm saying, guys. Raise your bar and raise your standards. It's okay. We love pro wrestling. We want it to be the best so that we can enjoy it more, be captivated by it. But we're never going to reach that if we just lie or we just accept mediocrity, right? If we just accept mid, we will be fed mid. Only when we raise our bar will they take notice and go, oh, we got to up our standards. We got to get more creative. And I promise you guys, as fans of pro wrestling, especially WWE, you will do better off. You'll be much better served in the long run. Food for thought. Raise your standards in your bar. Hold Hunter accountable, because this type of booking, this type of creative, when I'm already hearing, and I know I'm not alone on this, that it's a 3-hour show and I feel like it's going to be a chore for the whole night. And you start off with that. You know, don't be shocked when a lot of fans are like, dude, I don't know if I can do this another 2 hours and 45 minutes tonight. Because that's what we got to start the show. Drew McIntyre out of nowhere saying a bunch of nothing to Cody, and it just led to a Kevin Owens Cody pull him apart brawl. That's not nitpicking. That's not being negative. That's not trashing the show just to hear myself talk. That's exactly what happened. This is an honest review, and that is what transpired last night. It's lack of creative, and at this point, it's a lack of care. Let's move on. First matchup of the night. Shinsuke versus Andrade. So here's the deal. And if you guys hear any background noise, by the way, I do have the NFL Network on one of the screens in the office studio. So just checking out some last minute stuff that I kind of need to know for some side business. Big Packer game tomorrow. And it's also the last week of the NFL season, regular season, week 18. So I do have to have that on, so all apologies if you're hearing any chatter in the back. That is the NFL Network giving BC a lot of info that he needs. First matchup of the night, as I said, Shinsuke Nakamura, Andrade. Nakamura pins Andrade via Kinshasa. I wish I could tell you more, but I cannot. Post-match, LA Knight hits the ring. I think he might have gotten his hands on Shinsuke a little bit, but for the most part, Shinsuke hightails it. He takes off. LA gets on the mic, says a bunch of yeahs, and that's the segment. And then it's announced that next week on SmackDown, LA will get his IC championship or US championship rematch against Shinsuke Nakamura. So, the best way to say this, guys, because that was the whole segment. So now I'm going to give you my honest, as I always am, review of this. And I put this in my notes. I'll say it exactly as I put it. The mid-card has no fuel. You guys know how much I support LA Knight and how much I absolutely support Shinsuke. Andrade, I don't know where they're going with him. Hunter is totally lost with this dude. I'm sure his initial thought when he brought him back was LWO, LDF. I don't even have a clue. I don't know where to put you. So, and here we are. It ain't any better. He has a less than 10-minute match. Looking up at the lights, takes the L. I don't know how to feel about Andrade, just like the first time. But the problem is, I can respect these dudes all day, every day as I do. There's no substance, man. There's nothing making me feel any emotion when LA Knight comes out anymore. Or Shinsuke, even with a championship. Or definitely not Andrade. And the mid-card has felt like that for a while. Let's just stick with the blue brand. You just had the same 4 people for months. Mello, Andrade, Escobar, LA Knight. And they just put that on autopilot repeat for months. And now just watching Shinsuke and Andrade and just going, oh, at least they should have a good match. And then LA comes out and he just does a post-match attack. It's like, we're just going to flip-flop this, right? Shinsuke will attack LA after a match. LA will do that to Shinsuke. They'll have a match next week, then another match in 2 weeks. It doesn't feel fun, guys. It's a television show. You got to draw out emotion. It has to be fun. It has to be intriguing, right? Interest. You got to captivate your audience. If you guys are from this, that's awesome. That's no sarcasm. Much love and respect if you were totally fine with all of that. But that whole match, that whole segment, the post-match, it's not fun. And the mid-card has not been fun in the longest of time. We talk about how bad their tag division is, not because of tag teams. They have plenty of good tag teams. They just don't have a real division. There's nothing that makes sense in the tag division. But let's talk about the mid-card, man. Because that's almost just as bad. But Shinsuke with a pin over Andrade. And the rematch next week, LA versus Nakamura, is set. And we switch over to the ladies. This is Meecher? Maybe that's her sister, Meecher. This is Meechin, though. WWE wrestler Meechin. Formerly Mia Yim. All these name changes, bro. I don't know how I'm going to cope with it. See what Meechin defeats Piper Niven via Eat the Feet pinfall. I believe is what she calls it. It's a horrible name. Eat the Feet pinfall. Chelsea Green is playing the role of cheerleader. How do I say this? I don't even care about the Meechin Piper Niven match. That was a whole bunch of nothing. Meechin gains nothing from this other than a W. That's good, but that's only one part of the equation. I just said this recently in an upload, probably the last one. It's the AJ Styles analogy, right? Where Styles racked up a shit ton of W's one year. W after WWE was just having him win most of his matches, like 80-something%. But he was involved in nothing special, nothing meaningful. So nobody was talking about him. He didn't feel like he was special. Besides the fact that he's AJ Styles, and he is. But all those W's, man. But if you're not going to put any effort into the creative and the booking of them, then it's just meaningless W's. So Meechin picks up a W, and the crowd told you they didn't care. And Piper Niven just eats another L. I don't know what that's doing for her. My focal point was on Chelsea Green. She wins the championship last week. And this is the follow-up? This is what I mean about Hunter Helmsley is one of the worst I've ever seen at momentum and carrying it. Hunter Helmsley is one of the worst with follow-ups and follow-throughs. I've never seen anybody worse, guys. Not even Tony Khan or Vincent Kennedy. And that's saying something. But with follow-throughs, the next week it is usually done. Like when Meechin and Chelsea had that dumpster match and everybody was shocked because it was good. A dumpster gimmick match. In the next several weeks, you're pretty much forgetting about them. They weren't a part of the show. They were in some backstage stuff. Meechin, I think, had a match a couple weeks later. I'm like, what are you doing, bro? And you can name 1,000 of these scenarios in the past 2 months alone. But let's just stick with Chelsea and Meechin. So then Chelsea wins the championship last week. What is she doing? She's just on the outside cheering on Piper. Piper loses, and Chelsea's like, no, dang it. That was it. If you missed the show, guys, that's what happened last night. Literally what happened. It's not nitpicking. I'm not just a harsh critic. I mean, I am, but I'm an honest one. That's what happened. I'm like, come on, man. I'm a huge Chelsea supporter. I love the fact she got the championship. But what was that? What was that, man? She was a 3-hour SmackDown. And because you didn't want to get creative with Chelsea, you just stuck her in that position. Way to make her feel so irrelevant. That's what happened. If you saw the show, you know exactly what I'm talking about. That's it. I'll just move on. I'll say one more thing. I totally get that there has to be low points, right? That was such an extreme high. But it's a roller coaster analogy, right? Not all the time are you going to be up way high going on all the cool drops, right? You have to do all the boring parts of the roller coaster. You have to do all the runarounds and, go around the track so you can set up the big drops. I get it. There's always going to be the boring parts of the roller coaster. But you got to do better than that. It cannot be that boring, guys. The roller coaster cannot have that type of a lull segment in it. It'll bring down the overall perception of the roller coaster and what is being said about it. I get it. The big drop was when Chelsea won that, and now you got to set up something. But that? Even roller coasters, after the big drop, they have the mini drops right after. You know why? Because they don't want to just go from a big one just to a whole bunch of nothing. They want to keep that momentum, the good roller coasters. There was no momentum here. All right, that's what I'll say about it. Yes, it's very frustrating, because you see something so well done and you want to give Hunter some props and you're so excited for Chelsea. And then all of a sudden, the very next week, Hunter's right back to doing what he does best, being not creative. And there's Chelsea being as irrelevant as imaginable. If you missed last week's show, you didn't know she won a championship, you would never know she was a champion. Just looks like a cheerleader, a manager. Had a lot to say about that. Then we went to hour 2. That was the whole hour 1, guys, if you're wondering. Shinsuke pins Andrade. Meechin pins Piper Niven. And Cody and Kevin Owens have a pull-em-apart brawl. But I'm told Hunter was cooking. Okay, whatever. I'm not seeing it. I don't remember it that way. I'm reviewing it. I still don't remember that Hunter was cooking last night because he wasn't. But let's see if he cooked in hour number 2. We start off with Paul Heyman and Solo Sikoa. It's an in-ring promo where Solo is just telling Paul, if Roman wins, I will acknowledge him as the tribal chief. But if I win, you'll be my wise man forever. End promo. Wise man forever. Now, BC was thinking, that's a long time. That's a long time. I wonder if there's an opt-out clause like WWE has with Netflix or vice versa. After 5 years, they can get out. Or a baseball contract. I wonder if there's an opt-out clause, because that's a long time to be the wise man. Forever. See, I'm not a mathematician. I didn't major in any math courses, but forever's a long time. So wise man looks like he agreed to it or whatever. I don't know if he has the option. Crowd absolutely silent when the promo was done because they were like, okay, that's okay. Little stipulations on top of the Oompa Loompa necklace they're wrestling over. But aside from that, the crowd was like, all right, is that it? Is anybody Roman? They're all expecting Roman Reigns or something. I don't know. I don't know. It wasn't bad. It definitely wasn't good. You know what I mean? This was not captivating television watching Solo tell Paul Heyman, I'll acknowledge him if he beats me. And if I win, come back to being my wise man. Next up, hour number 2. I think this was like the only match in hour 2. Jax and Naomi may have started in hour 2, but the only full one was DIY and MCMG wrestling to an NC. That's all right. Let's just keep the letters going. DIY, MCMG wrestle to a no contest as Pretty Deadly and Humberto and Garza interfere. So Michael Cole made it known immediately that the referee had to throw the match out. So I don't even think one was DQ'd over the other. Michael Cole said it was thrown out, and it looked like they just kind of were Pretty Deadly. Humberto and Garza were kind of fighting each other and stumbled on top of DIY and MCMG. So they all wrestled to a no contest. So I don't know what I'm supposed to say about that. Guys, I left nothing in my notes afterwards, and I'm not going to spend an ounce of energy on it afterwards either here. I don't know. The tag team division is so stupid. It's just so bad. Good tag teams. It's just so bad. So like I said, we go right into hour number 3. This was Nia Jax defeating Naomi via Banzai Ass Squash. Old school Yokozuna. Or as Jax calls it, a.k.a. the Annihilator. A huge assist to Tiffany Stratton, who put the briefcase to the dome piece of Naomi, setting up that ass squash banzai. Referee Jessica Carr with the 1, 2, 3. I think it was referee Jess, wasn't it? Or was she in the no contest earlier? I forgot. Well, either way, Naomi takes the L here. But again, Tiffany did put a briefcase to her dome piece, so Naomi doesn't lose too much here. But post-match is where everything newsworthy from this show happened. Post-match, let me get a swig of coffee. We're going to talk about it. So post-match, Stratton takes out Candy LeRae, who she's been having problems with anyway. She's like, I'm the sidekick of Naomi, or Nia Jax, not you, Candy. So she takes out Candy. Bianca Belair delivers a KOD to Nia Jax. So Jax was knocked out on the post. Did Tiffany take her out? Or Tiffany allowed it to happen? Something like that. So Nia's dropped out, like passed out on the second rope. It was weird. And then Bianca came over and KO'd her. So Nia is done. Now don't forget, Candy LeRae was taken out by Tiffy. Bianca, Naomi leave. Candy LeRae is knocked out. Nia's knocked out. Middle of the ring. So Tiffany now has the briefcase. She goes over to the ref, and it definitely wasn't Jessica Carr that she handed the briefcase to. But she handed the briefcase to an official, and she said, let's do it. And I'm like, all right, I've seen too many of these. Until the bell actually sounds, I'm not believing it. Sure enough, bell sounds. I see Jack's perfect position to take a prettiest moonsault ever. And sure enough, Tiffany goes up and hits a prettiest moonsault ever. A PME that was literally flawless. Landed square. Right on top of Jack's. Ref hits it 1, 2, 3, and new women's champion, Tiffany Stratton. It became Tiffy time across the nation. Everybody's watch, wall clocks, time everywhere, all switched simultaneously to Tiffy time. It was, officials are saying it's the first time in history, first time recorded in history, that the entire world was set to one time simultaneously, and it was all set to Tiffy time. This is just what I heard, guys. Tiffany Stratton. A lot of people like BC was like, wow, they did it, and I was so happy for that gal because it's long overdue. Since she's gotten that briefcase, it's been a rough booking trajectory. Now, Hunter has botched her big time. But to see that moment, man. And then there's a lot of fans that are like, nah, what is that? Not even a main event, in the middle of a SmackDown. Listen, I hear you. Jax's entire title reign was just to lose it on a SmackDown. I get you guys. I hate when titles constantly change hands on the shows themselves because it doesn't give the title, the challenger, or the champion the spotlight they deserve. I totally understand titles are going to change hands on shows, regular shows, Raw, SmackDown, and they have to. Keeps the spontaneity of the show itself. And there's just too many titles these days. They have to change hands on the shows. So I get it. But it's too often. And too often, it's not even a main event or even starting the show. It's like stuck in the middle. So I totally hear you guys. But if you're upset about the person that won it, I'm not seeing it. I understand she hasn't been there in a while, or for a while. You know, she's still pretty new to this. But that's how good she is, guys. She is that good. And I said it from day one. I'm like, listen, if they ever want to catapult her booking, I'm going to be okay with it. You know, I just asked that you do it properly. After she won the briefcase, they did not. They dropped the ball big time. She became irrelevant. And then every single week with the fake cash-ins or false cash-ins on the teases on Nia Jax, it became too much. The redundancy had hit a wall. So Hunter had to make this decision, or you start something with Liv Morgan's championship, because this was not working. What a moment. If you're a veteran subscriber, you know how high I am on Tiffany Stratton, so I was so proud of her, man. I still lit the next morning. Here I am like, dude, I hope they book her correctly, because this could be one of the biggest, best title reigns we've seen for the females in a long time. Now, here's the question, though, and I put this in my notes. How and where do you now insert Charlie Flair? Because you knew that's what WWE wanted. They wanted Nia Queen versus Charlie the Queen. Probably WrestleMania, where Charlie hoists up her championship, 15, one away from her father and the record being tied. But they went a different direction. Put it on Tiffany Stratton. Now, they better not. They cannot have Charlie show up, start a feud with Tiffany, the Battle of the Moonsaults, and Charlie defeats Tiffany for that title. I really hope they don't do that, guys. Listen to the response that Tiffany got last night. How the adulation, and people are actually genuinely excited and want to see her with that championship. And Charlie, of all people, who's been gone for a year, is going to waltz back in and take another title immediately. And this time from Tiffy. How does that help Tiffany Stratton or the women's division? It doesn't. So I have a wild take here, and it shouldn't be wild. It shouldn't be a hot take. But how about they keep her away from the title picture? When Charlie, because she's been gone long enough, Hunter should have had 10 storylines planned for her. She's been gone a year. Hunter should have the next 5 years of storylines set for Charlie. And none of it should have to do with a championship. She doesn't need it. Just book her in storylines that we care about. That's simple. It's not rocket science. It's not pulling teeth. When she comes back, just put her in good storylines. Why does she always have to come back to a championship? Is that the only way that you're going to force feed us that she's one of the best wrestlers in the world? Let us make that decision. Let us come to that conclusion. Storylines at this point. We get it. She wins a bunch of championships. We're already past that. But storylines, man, most fans cannot on one hand give you the captivating storylines that Charlie has given us over the years. And that's not just her fault. Trust me, it's Hunter, it's Vincent, Kennedy McMahon. There's no question. But now the whole thing has changed. Tiffany has that championship. There's no way Charlie comes back right into that, takes it from Tiffany. Nobody wins in that scenario, dude. Nobody. So it could be interesting to see because Charlie could come back this Monday, we are hearing, the Netflix premiere. Charlie Flair could be coming back before the Rumble. You want to set something up with Liv Morgan, Rhea? I don't even want her winning that championship. Just put her in storylines. She has to stay away from it. It's not helping her. Here we are years and years later. And most fans don't know how to take Charlie Flair. She's going to get a big pop when she comes back. This is what always happens, right? Take a few months off, this time a lot more because of the injury. Come back, huge pop. Within a few weeks, fans are like, all right, it's still Charlie. So then she starts sounding like a heel on the microphone because she's all up in her feels and she doesn't like hearing some boos. So then before you know it, they have to book her as a heel. And then she goes away for a couple months so she can come back and get that reception again. We can go on and on, guys, but this Tiffany Stratton title reign, while we celebrated on one facet, on the other hand, you got to kind of think ahead and go, oh boy, are they bringing in Charlie to take that from Tiff? Tiffany Stratton, man. And right when she comes to the back, Hunter's there for the point, right? He wants to blow up the internet all the time. Hey, let's do the point. I love how CM Punk made fun of him for that after Survivor Series when he came back to the company. Oh, we got to do the point. Oh, man, he just blew up Hunter, dude. That was awesome. And then we go into, salute to Tiffany Stratton. What a moment. That was the moment of the night, guys. Everything else was just so bad. Perhaps none worse than what happened in the main event next. This was the Bootleg Bloodline versus Jay and Jimmy Uso along with Sami Zayn. Now, if you guys saw the match, you know what I'm about to say, right? All the filler that was happening. And if you didn't watch this is what actually happened last night. So, Solo, Fatu, and Tonga. And I want to just read this from my notes to make sure I'm giving this as accurate as imaginable. Solo, Fatu, and Tonga hit the ring at around 10:20 p.m. Eastern Time. 10:20. I'm like, whoa, we're going to the main event now? I knew right from the jump there was a botch because ain't nobody trying to catch a 40-minute six-man tag between these things. Come on, bro. That's the best you got to do with your existence, man. 40-minute six-man tag match. So I'm like, 10:20? Like, they don't want to use that time any differently? They couldn't have thought of something much better for Chelsea, for instance? Do something with your tag division, make it more relevant? I mean, that's some good TV time. So 10:20-ish, they come out. Guys, it was 10:35. The faces are in the ring. 10:35 now, all right? You went up nearly 15 minutes. Charles Robinson, referee Charles Robinson, was still stalling before the opening bell. While everybody is yeeting, right? Jay is trying to pump everybody up. They're doing it becomes a dancing show at that point. And it just went on and on and on. Minute turned into minute. And this went on for at least a full 5 minutes. Sammy was actually asking referee Charles Robinson. You could see him. He's like, are we good? Is that it? And you could literally see Charles Robinson going, no, Hunter's, they're telling me keep going. He's pointing because he's telling Sammy, no, they're telling me no, you got to keep going. Keep dancing. This actually happened. Like, if you go back and watch, you'll see it. Charles Robinson has his black box. Hunter's telling him to stall, keep going. So he's telling Sammy, because Sammy doesn't want to dance anymore, right? He's probably looking, he's like, dude, I did not do my whole career could not come down to this. I'm not going to just dance for 5 minutes on national television. So that's what they did, man. He's asking Charles. Charles is like, keep going, not yet. So again, I knew this was a botch when it was like almost 40 minutes in Solo, and then we're coming down there. I'm like, there's no way we need to see a 6-man tag for 40 minutes. But to see how much time was being wasted, the filling with the dancing, the stalling, and these wrestlers looking like idiots. Jay's yeeting for 5 minutes. Sammy is asking Charles Robinson, when can I stop, dude? It was so bad. 10:20-ish, Solo and them come to the ring. 10:35, they're still dancing. 10:36, we finally get the opening bell. 10:36. We go right to a commercial break. Immediately into a commercial break when the bell sounds. And when we come back, we have roughly 19 minutes left in the show. Much more manageable 19 minutes to watch 6 dudes wrestle in a 6-man tag. As if anybody cares. And you know that the match will probably end a couple minutes before the show ends, so you can set something up afterwards. So you're basically looking at a standard 16 to 17 minute match tops. Much more manageable. But wow, did we piss away 20 minutes. Now, Solo will end up pinning Jey Uso in this match for the finish. Jay thought like Fatu, I think, was the legal man, but he wasn't. Solo gives him the spike, 1, 2, 3, the Yeet Master, all that dancing and wasting all that energy, and then he loses to Solo Sikoa. And full transparency, sometimes you come back from the recap, the replays, and you know they're still holding position. You know, that's if they started maybe 30 seconds previous, went to the replays, come. Guys, this was 2 minutes earlier. They come back and poor Solo and them, they got their arms down. They're tired. They're all just staring at the referee who's outside. He stays at the ring apron. You guys don't see him because he's where the camera is at. And he gives them the cues. So they're all just staring like, are we doing it again? Sure enough. So then they got to redo the one. So the last 2 minutes is just Solo and them trying to hold position several times to do their stupid ones. And it's like, dude, why would you waste? That's valuable time. You have nothing creative to finish this show. Like, give us a cliffhanger or something, man. Give us, no, just ones. Guys, 40 minutes to end this. Think about it. It just dawned on me, right? I knew it was bad, but think about it. They added another hour last night. First time for SmackDown. A third hour. Think about what we just talked about. 40 minutes was pissed away. They just gave us a weird 6-man, right? 6, dude, go out there and do wrestling moves. And a lot of nonsense filler. Just dance. Dance for 5 extra minutes. You guys hold up ones for a couple extra minutes. Give another commercial break. I got nothing. This was Hunter literally admitting I have nothing. Got nothing. I'm not even going to try to book this third hour. Right now, I just got to think Netflix. He's probably already burnt out from that third hour. I could not believe they just pissed television time away like that. And you see everything that needs to be changed, or at least most things that need to be switched up in this company. And the things that could greatly help this company and help the superstars, the wrestlers, man. Because they need it. That's precious time. And Hunter's out there stalling while everybody yeets. Keep dancing. If you saw the show, you know what I'm talking about. That we just watched them dance for 6 minutes. Nauseating. And that's how you ended the show. So thank goodness for the Tiffany. If Tiffany didn't cash in and get that championship, I don't even know what we would talk about on this 3 hours, guys. It would literally have just been Nia Jax beat Naomi, and then we went to the main event, and then we would have talked about even more filler time. Think about that. This is not being overly critical or harsh, guys. If you saw the show, even if you liked this show, that's fine. Somehow, I don't even know how that would be imaginable, or impossible. But even if you liked this show, cool. But going over this review, you should not be shocked that a lot of people did not. right? I mean, it shouldn't be like, whoa, people didn't like this? No, it wasn't good. And I say all the time, we can like something. It doesn't necessarily mean it's good, right? We could not like something, but it could be really good. That's preference. That's our prerogative. That's why I take what I like and what I don't like, and I usually put it to the wayside. It's more about what is good and what is not. That's what I really like to discuss on this channel, because then we can all come together and come up with solutions to make it better. Or to find out why it's just not good. So that's why telling the truth and just being honest with these shows is the best possible course of action. Because then the companies will get better. Hopefully, that's the hope. Hunter's not showing us that. This was a rough SmackDown. It was really, really bad. But that one moment, man, is what we're going to talk about. And that was a good thing to BC. So that's what somehow, in a roundabout way, actually saved this show, because that headline trumps everything else that happened on this 3-hour SmackDown. It would have been nice if I could give you guys more power of positivity, right? We could have a lot more fun and tell a lot more jokes in a positive way, but the show just wasn't good. And I'm not gonna bullshit my audience. So my tried and trues, you know that. You would expect nothing else from me. You guys probably rocked out this entire review. And I thank you guys big time, man. Straight up subscribers, and especially my channel members. If you chuck a coffee every month, if you are a member to this channel, my board of directors, an extra special salute to you guys, man. As we get closer to the Netflix big debut, man, Monday there'll be a huge upload. Maybe we can even do that live, and then, of course, the big review afterwards. Oh, it's big, man. It's big. I'm really hoping they can sell out the arena eventually. There's only 2 days left. But, we're told business is booming. Right now, they have not sold out this arena. So hopefully they do that, because I want that place as packed and as raucous as imaginable. Salute, unit. That's what I got for you. Until next time, there will be that next time. 44 dive. That is a wrap. BC in the unit saying check you. Salute.